Hey, welcome back to another IDW Sonic video. This time we're going to be talking about both issues 5 and 6, because I couldn't get a halfway decent video of 5 itself done before 6 came out, so we're just going to go over both here. If you were expecting a major change from the first 4 issues, you're not really going to find that here. These two still have a lot of seeing what's up with everybody post-Forces and in our new comic universe. We get to see the return of the Chaotix, who are still doing their detective thing, halfway decently as well as Rouge and Shadow, who we'll get to in a second. Mostly Shadow. The major focus for these issues, though, is Dr. Eggman, who ended up getting amnesia, and has been hanging out in this random village, helping people and just generally being a pretty good guy. Obviously, though, Sonic and everybody are a little bit suspicious because it's, you know, Eggman. But by the end of a Bad Ink Attack, he's more or less proved that he's not who he was, or at least he's really, really good at hiding it. I actually really like what they do with Eggman here, sort of debating whether or not he should still be held accountable for the things that he did before, because he's pretty clearly not the same person anymore. In a more realistic situation, I think the answer would still probably be yes, but this is a comic book about a talking blue hedgehog. I think realism can afford to be stretched a little bit. They also bring up a really good point about this regarding Shadow as well. A decent chunk of issue 6 is a fight with Sonic and Shadow. Shadow wants to take Eggman in because he's still Eggman, but Sonic, who is at this point more or less convinced that he's not the same, isn't going to let him do that. And he ends up bringing up, hey, you tried to destroy the planet one time too, and if Eggman can't be forgiven, then I don't see why you could either. Eventually, they just sort of decide to leave him be, but not everybody is 100% on the whole thing, because he still remembers Eggman Land, even if it is in name only. A name, by the way, that he uses for an actual playground, which is just fantastic. But with him remembering that, there's that small possibility that his memories could return, so he could always go back to being mwahaha crazy evil. Issue 6 also features the reveal of the guy in the chair that we've been seeing for these past few issues. There have been a few theories that it's Metal Sonic or Infinite or a new villain or what have you, but it's actually none of those. In a move that disappointed a handful of people, it's actually a second Eggman, so now we just have to question who the real one is. Once again, there's been a few theories on this, but my money's on the Tinker Eggman being a Phantom Ruby duplicate. There's not really much evidence one way or the other, by which I mean there's like none, so basically just have to wait to see if I'm right or terribly, terribly wrong. Watch as they end up pulling like an Archie thing, and one of them is a robot duplicate from another universe. That probably won't happen, but it would be a hell of a way for me to be wrong. I think it would be kind of cool to have a little throwback to that, though. Some evil Robotnik from another universe, like some Robotnik robot from another universe like that. Not as like a regular occurring villain or something, but like a one-off maybe? I don't know. Over on the art side of things, both of these issues are done by Tracy Yardley, who drew the first issue, and there's not really much that I can say here that I didn't talk about back in the first issue. His art's really good. The thing I talked about in the first issue is that it was sort of off a little bit. It hasn't quite hit the same level as it was when he was working on the Archie book, and it's improved more here. It looks a little more on point. There's still some spots where it looks weird. Rouge in particular has a lot of really weird faces and odd proportions, but I would still pin that on him needing to get used to things again. Ultimately, it's not that big of a deal. It's more slightly annoying than anything, so I'll live with it. So that's it for those issues. There's still not much in the way of a big overarching plot, so if you're wanting that now after the first 4, you're going to be a bit let down. However, if you ask me, since we're still at the start of the book, I'm okay with them focusing on more small, self-contained stories that will slowly build up to a bigger plot. I'm not expecting Countdown to Chaos or even House of Cards level storytelling from the series at this point. I understand some of the disappointment from people. Like, I get wanting to move into a story because you want to see what Ian has up his sleeve for the new universe, but we're at the very beginning of the book, and you need to slowly ease into things, especially considering the IDW book is so heavily focused on bringing in new readers as well. I would still definitely recommend reading it if you were a fan of the Archie book, because it still has that same feel to it, because it's the same writer as the majority of the Archie book had. And even if you were somebody who didn't get into the Archie book, if you even have a passing interest in Sonic, read the IDW book because it's pretty good. That is about going to wrap it up for this video. If you enjoyed, then you can give it a like and subscribe and hit the bell notification. And hopefully, YouTube will tell you when I've uploaded a new video. But in the event that they do not, which happens quite often, I always post when I upload a new video over on my Twitter, and my most recent video is always my pinned tweet. I'll also tweet over there stuff that I'm watching or playing or reading or whatever, so if you care, you can get sort of a sneak peek on the videos that I'm going to be doing and what I'm going to be saying in them, because I tend to tweet my general thoughts on a thing, so you sort of have an idea of what I'm going to be talking about in a particular video. So if you care about that, that's in the description. as is my Patreon, so if you like my content, you can throw a couple bucks my way, but you do not need to in any capacity. Now, if you want to see some of the other stuff that I've done, then on screen right now you've got 2 of my last videos. On the left, you have the last IDW Sonic video I did, which was on issue 4, and on the right, you have the last overall video I did, which was on Kamen Rider villains. That's all for now, and I will see you guys next time.